Hey guys, thanks for joining me today. My name's Keely and I'm the owner of Love, Hope Adventure, where I blog about the marriage relationship, intimacy, and marriage, and how you can go deeper with your spouse. And today I'm answering a question about getting your spouse more involved in masturbation with you. Okay, this question says, how do I involve my wife more in my solo masturbation? She's pregnant, so intercourse isn't happening that often. A while back, she told me she was okay with me masturbating, as I have needs that, she doesn't feel like she can meet as often as I need it. I normally masturbate in the shower for easy cleanup, but I was wondering if there are ways of me involving her in my time. Mutual masturbation is not an option, as she's never touched herself down there. Okay, here's a couple things at play. Now, normally, I don't personally advocate masturbation, solo masturbation in marriage, but that is completely up to a couple. So as long as there's no secrecy going on and the spouse understands it, knows it, whatever, then that is something a couple has to make a decision with on their own. I think that masturbation in secrecy is always a bad idea, but in another sense, sometimes masturbation can can make it more difficult to really run after intimacy with your spouse, because if you're taking care of that burning desire for yourself, sometimes it can make it more difficult for you to really lean into spending time with your spouse. In other cases, it relieves that tension and makes you a better spouse. So everyone has to make that decision for themselves. Now, on to the question about how to help your spouse be more involved in your solo masturbation. And I'm not sure that I'm going to give an answer anybody really likes here. If you have a husband or a wife who has never masturbated, they're not okay with it, maybe they feel dirty about it, whatever. I don't know the story behind it. The chances are you're not going to get them enthusiastic about masturbation when it's just you and you're doing self-pleasure and you want them to be involved in it. There's a very real possibility they're not going to be turned on by that, because here's the thing: if your spouse is not interested in getting turned on for whatever reason, okay, in this case the wife is pregnant, she feels bad, intercourse isn't happening a whole lot. If she had the energy, desire, motivation, whatever, to be intimate with you, she would be intimate with you. But if she doesn't have the desire or the motivation or whatever, the chances are she's not going to have the desire and motivation to be a part of masturbation, whether she is participating in the masturbation herself or not. It's just as much mental, physical, emotional energy required to be a part of a sexual activity with your spouse that they are doing for themselves, say masturbation, as it is for you to be involved in that as well. And so if you as a husband or a wife, whatever the case may be, think, all right, I really want sex, I really want to release, I really want to orgasm, but my spouse does not want that right now. I wonder if they'd be willing and interested in me orgasming without them, but while they're with me. The chances are the answer is probably they don't. Why? Because if they don't want to be sexually aroused by you rubbing on them and kissing them and touching them, they probably don't want to get aroused by you stimulating yourself. Now, this is my personal opinion here, and I do find this to be something that I get a lot from readers. A person will email me and say, my spouse wants to have more sex and I don't want to do it. Or my spouse wants me to do more oral. Or my spouse wants me to do more whatever it is. They are not in a mental headspace in which they can do it. Mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, whatever the case is. So inviting your spouse to be a part of this is fine. I would start there. Start with a conversation and ask your spouse, what are ways that you would want to be involved in this? Do you want to be involved in this or not? I find that a lot of times when a spouse says, you can go and masturbate, I don't, that's on you, you do that, that's fine. In some regards, they are kind of like trying to get off the hook for being the person that is in charge of your sexual release. And they put that back on you so that they don't have to have any responsibility for that. Good, bad, or otherwise, they probably aren't going to want that responsibility put back on them. That, oh, well, you want to orgasm and now you want me to still be a part of that somehow. That's not what I signed up for. So this is my personal opinion. I don't really have any real tips to get your spouse involved in a solo masturbation session if she is not interested herself. Now, if she is interested and she does want to be a part of this, then you could have her wear something sexy. She can be naked. You can rub on your spouse. You like we call it dry humping. I did a full video on dry humping. I can put that blog post down in the comments. So dry humping is a great way to get your spouse involved in masturbation that doesn't require penetration. So those are some of my ideas and tips of getting someone involved in that. But I do want to hedge this with, this might not be met in a way that is positive for you. So that's my answer to that question. Thanks so much for joining me today, guys. I look forward to chatting with you again soon. Follow me at lovehoopadventure.com. Sign up for my newsletter, lovehoopadventure.com/newsletter, where I answer anonymous questions. It's the most exclusive content you're going to get because there's a lot of questions I don't put on YouTube or the blog. Thanks so much for talking with me, and I will be happy to speak to you later.